Today I fucked up by trusting kittens to stay put. Obligatory, I'm on mobile. A couple of days ago I picked up 3 little ginger kittens with conjunctivitis that were found in a shed. Mum was gone and floodwaters were rising fast, so the finder took them to my vet, who passed them on to me. My normal process is to either put them onto a mama with kittens of a similar age, or if they're already eating solids, I crate them separately and do proper isolation so I can make sure they're not sick. These little guys were on solids already, so I decided to crate them separately to sort out the conjunctivitis before I introduce them to new friends. So I feed them and head off to bed. A couple of hours later, they're all crying, so I go back to feed them and one is outside the crate, wandering around. Okay, maybe I didn't close the crate properly. It looked fine, but they're cheap and can be dodgy, so I closed the door tightly and stuck a string around it so they couldn't get loose. The next morning I come out and there's 2 of them asleep, huddling next to the crate. The fuke. I put them back and feed them and go about my day. I'm sitting at my desk doing paperwork and all of a sudden there's a loud screaming coming from outside the door. I walk out and there's 3 little gingers screaming for lunch. So I feed them and put them back and jam the door shut again. And then I sit quietly on the couch and wait. One by one, the little buggers come up to the front of the crate, wiggle out between the bars, waltz along the table and climb down to the floor before running over to me to scream for more food. The second brother even helped push the fattest brother out before he climbed out and pulled the little one out behind him. I can't stop laughing and crying. Let's hope they don't spread conjunctivitis to my cats, who decided to help by mothering them, including 2 old desexed ginger males and 1 mother who just recently weaned her litter. Now they're all in isolation. I've wrapped the crate in chicken wire. Let's hope they stay put now. Kitten tax. Too long didn't read. Kittens are tiny menaces and I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Look to their cute claws and face. Lovely creatures for sure. Good luck with them, my friend. Today I fucked up by trusting kittens. Literally anything after that is a mistake. Ye canna herd cats, laddie. Scottish Shepherd probably. The part about the little one helping to push his fat brother through the bars had me in bits. Today I fucked up by getting the food out of the McDonald's bag even though my mother told me to wait, and ending up with a lifelong fear of turtles. This today I fucked up is ancient by Reddit standards, as it happened when I was about 5 years old in the bygone era of the 1980s. One day I woke up with a very high fever and was rushed to the hospital, where it was determined that I had pneumonia in both lungs, but that's not really relevant other than to set the stage that I was very sick for a couple of weeks. Lots of medicine, at least 2 trips to the ER to have them bring my fever down, and lots of laying around watching Wheel of Fortune. I finally started to feel better one day, and all I wanted, more than anything in the world, was chicken McNuggets. I can't remember who was taking care of me during the day, but bless them, they called my mom and arranged for the delivery. It was going to be the first substantial meal I had in weeks and I was stoked. Before I go further, a brief word about my mother. She was a complete badass single mom taking care of 1 sick kid and 3 standard issue teenagers without taking shit from anyone. Badass as she is, she also has a very big heart and would never allow a living creature to come to harm if there was anything she could do to prevent it. Let's continue. Dinner time rolls around and I hear my mom pull up, see the distinct 1980s Happy Meal box in her hand, and I am fucking losing it with excitement. That fucking Happy Meal was my entire world at that point in my life. I had lived on chicken soup and popsicles for weeks and I was ready to chow down. My mom brings the food in and tells me that she has to go to the bathroom, but that I needed to wait for her to get the food. Fuck that, thinks I, and I start reaching into the container and feel something. Not McNugget. Why? Then I feel something wet, which can't be right. So I look in the box and there are 6 very tiny, very green, very wet turtles crawling all around the box. I don't clearly remember the next couple of minutes, but it's been variously described to me as freaking the fuck out, a conniption, and the highest pitched scream I've heard come out of a real person. Of course, I later found out, and you have probably already realized, that my mom had seen these baby turtles crossing the road, stopped traffic, and saved them. Having no other container for them, she dumped my food into one of the other bags and completed her good deed. At the time I was not thinking clearly, weeks of a fever and also kids are dumb, so I was convinced that this was some kind of orchestrated attack at worst or some kind of sick prank at best. Ever since that day I have not been able to get near a turtle without my fight or flight reflex going haywire, and I didn't eat chicken McNuggets again until well into high school. Too long didn't read, my mom saved some turtles and unintentionally scarred me for life. That fucking Happy Meal was my entire world at that point in my life. I feel this in my soul. At least you can laugh about it now, as long as there's not a turtle nearby. Yes. Your mum's an angel. Also, is it just me or were McNuggets just better in the 80s? She is an angel. McNuggets were definitely better in the 80s. I couldn't say why, but they were. The best today I fucked up ever. Also the shittiest phobia for a grown-ass man with kids of his own to have. I will deal with any manner of home pest for my wife and kids, but I will push every one of those fuckers in the path of a turtle if I see one coming. Turtles are friends, not food. Today I fucked up by having a little too much fun on a roller coaster. Okay, yeah, so this story is unfortunately very true. This happened about 5 years ago when I was 13. I was going to a fair with 5 of my friends. I had some half-price coupons to the local theme park, Valley Fair in Minnesota, and we decided to go together. So we get to the theme park, and right at the entrance of the park is this roller coaster called the Steel Venom that we decide will be our first ride. We wait in line to get on the ride, and start buckling in when it's our turn. Now here comes the fuck up. After I push down my harness, I had just a little bit too much room to wiggle around. I figure I might as well push it one more notch. Better safe than sorry, right? As it turns out, I was very, very sorry for being safe. I push the harness down one more notch and the ride starts, and I'm enjoying the ride from the safety of my snug harness, secure in the knowledge that I won't slip out and die. I loved roller coasters, so I'm enjoying myself, having a great time, screaming louder than I need to. And then all of a sudden I realize I'm enjoying the ride a little bit too much. The harness, which was snugly contouring my body, unfortunately had an ironclad hold on my junk and was vibrating in all the wrong ways. I start to panic, and frantically try to adjust myself in any way to get my package away from the roller coaster turned sex toy, but it was no use. I was trapped and wishing that I would have just let myself slip out of my harness instead. So at this point the ride is almost over, and I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, I can hold out. This ride doesn't need to have a happy ending. Through the power of sheer will, I may be able to resist. But my adolescent cock had other plans. Right at the end of the ride, any of you who have ridden it before will know this, the ride stops on the tracks and shakes the passengers violently. It's normally a fun part of the ride. I think the point is to make it seem like the ride is breaking or something. However, this time around the roller coaster shook, and, despite my best efforts, my virgin nuts couldn't take it and I shot such a needlessly massive load in my briefs. So we get off on the ride and I tell my friends that I need to go to bathroom. Assess the damage and my shorts and underwear are a total loss. I shouldn't have worn khaki shorts. At this point I need to decide if I tell the truth to my friends or make up some bullshit, but apparently they already figured it out. They had a good laugh and I tell them that if we want to stay, I need to buy a new pair of pants from the gift shop, and that I'll wait here in the bathroom and they can pick some out. So of course they come back with these sweatpants with Tidal Wave written in big letters. Tidal Wave is another roller coaster at the theme park. I sport them commando, and the rest of the night they never stopped joking about it, which was pretty embarrassing, but in the end they didn't tell anyone what happened. The cherry on top, as if it wasn't already humiliating enough, the ride was only about 2 minutes long. Too long didn't read. I learned the hard way not to overly tighten the roller coaster restraints. At least you found a potentially great way to end the day if you go again. This is how kinks are formed. Next you're gonna tell us roller coasters and shame are your top Pornhub searches. Hilarious story BTW. Thank you for sharing this delightful, embarrassing story. Lol, no problem. That was hilarious. Good, today I fucked up. I'm thinking about the poor person who had to unbuckle you. How exactly did that work? Well, luckily it unlocks on its own. That would have been a very sticky situation.